Hello and welcome to Cupcakes. In this video I'll show you how I created these dinosaur themed cupcake toppers for a baby boy. You don't have to do dinosaur, you can use whatever you have available. I used a circle cutter the same size as my cupcake, some white fondant, blue and yellow fondant, a cocktail stick and a dressing tool. I also have a straight edge sharp knife, a rolling pin and a textured rolling pin. I use icing sugar to stop that fondant from sticking. I have some gold lustre dust and I will add vodka to this to create a paint. I have some sweet stamps which will spell the word baby, some water and a paintbrush. I've got a mini letter stamp which I've just put the baby's surname in, ready to use. I'm also using a plunger cutter which is in the shape of a baby's vest, and then I have these two moulds. If you don't have these moulds you can use what you have available. I love dinosaurs, that's why I've gone for this theme, as these cupcakes are a gift. And one mould is dinosaurs and the other is bows. The first thing I'm going to do is empty some icing sugar into the moulds I'm going to use, and just using a paintbrush I'm going to push that icing sugar in a little bit further, which will just help that fondant not to stick. And just flipping it upside down to remove any of that excess icing sugar, and then taking a little bit of the yellow fondant and pushing it into the mould, removing the excess with that straight edged knife. And I'm going to pop these in the freezer for 10-15 minutes just to firm up, so when it comes to taking them out of the mould it's a lot easier. Again, just repeating the same process with the little dinosaurs, pushing that fondant in best you can, removing the excess and neatening them off with your finger, and into the freezer they go. The next part of the topper I'm going to make is the word baby, and I did that by rolling out some white fondant, using that icing sugar so the fondant doesn't stick to the mat, and just arranging the word baby. As you can see, the word baby is too big for my cupcake topper. I do know that it will hang over, but I'm just going to try and push the letters as close as possible to each other and overlap them ever so slightly. I'm making the word baby 3 times because I do plan on having 3 cupcakes which have the word baby on them. The next thing I did was to cut out round each one of them words, and I did that just by simply using that straight edge knife and cutting as close to the stamped letters as I could, then flipping it over and rubbing my finger across the edge just to neaten up that side. And of course repeated that with the other 2 toppers also. And once happy with them, I removed the bow and the dinosaurs from the freezer, and as you can see just popped them straight out of that silicone mould, and they do come away easy enough. I'm just leaving all my toppers on the board at the side of me just to set, and the ones that have been in the freezer will need to just dry out a little bit. In moulds do move out of place slightly. Once you've set them aside you can just pop them back into the proper position. I'm also making 3 of this next cupcake topper too, and to start with I rolled out some white fondant and just cut 3 very thin circles of that fondant, and then rolled out some more white fondant using the textured rolling pin. I cut a straight edge, and then doing the exact same with some of that blue fondant, rolling it nice and thin, then going over it in the textured rolling pin and cutting another straight edge. Now going back to the plain white circle I first cut out, I went over with a little bit of water just to make that fondant tacky, and then joining up both of the straight edges in the textured fondant, gently rubbing them together using that circle cutter to cut away a neat circle. And just repeating that another 2 times to give me 3 cupcake toppers, half blue and half white textured. Just to the top of the white I am going to add on a yellow bow, and I'm going to make some braces too. And to do that I rolled out that yellow icing nice and thin, cut away 2 long thin strips, attach them with a little bit of water and just neatening them up, again using that sharp edge knife just to remove any excess. And as you can see, I've fetched them down into that blue area just ever so slightly. To make the buttons, it's just as easy as taking a little bit of that yellow fondant, rolling it into a ball and sticking them on with a little bit of water. You can take a cocktail stick or a sharp edge dressing tool and just make a little indentation. I made 4 little indents to make it look like a little button. And I did that on all 3 of the blue and white cupcake toppers. For the next cupcake, I'm going to take that blue fondant. I'm going to start by using my normal rolling pin and rolling it out, then taking that textured rolling pin and cutting away 3 circles. I'm just positioning the word baby onto that blue cupcake topper before pressing in the baby's surname, just so I know I've got it where it'll all fit on the best it can. And because each word baby was cut by hand, they've all been cut differently, so I am measuring each one up before pressing in that baby's surname. I'm just using that water and paintbrush to stick on that word baby to the blue topper. And then once I'm happy with them, I'm just going to let them rest and sit on the side too. For the last 6 cupcakes, I started by taking some of that blue fondant and rolling it with the normal rolling pin and cutting out 3 of the baby vests. Then taking the textured rolling pin, I gently rolled over it again and cut out 3 circles in that same blue. And just popping them to the side, I did the exact same with some white fondant. 3 of the vests in plain and 3 textured circles. To give the vests some texture, you can take a tool or a cocktail stick, and I just made in some stitching lines, just going around the edge of each sleeve and where the leg would be. Then using the water, I'm going to paint a little bit on the back of each vest, and for the blue vests they can go on the white topper and the white vests can go on the blue topper. I'm just placing them as central as I can, and popping a little bit of water in the centre of each vest will just allow me to attach each dinosaur to the centre. I'm just placing random dinosaurs on each vest. And once I was happy with these, I popped them onto the board again and mixed some vodka in with my gold lustre dust. I will be painting everything yellow and painting in the word baby. Because I've only used a fondant and not added anything to it, I am going to leave my toppers to dry overnight on the counter. This will just help them firm up a little bit for when they're popped on the top of the cupcakes. I've just took some normal vanilla buttercream and done some standard swirls on the top of my cupcakes, and I'm just going to pop them in place and push down ever so slightly into that fresh buttercream. I think these cupcakes are quite simple to make and look really effective. And there you have it, our dinosaur easy baby boy cupcake toppers. Thank you very much for watching.